Hello viewers, welcome to my YouTube channel Curiosity Rocks, and in this video I'm reviewing Loki Series 1 Episode 5 Journey into Mystery. So we have the recap and previous line, and then Loki's waking up somewhere, and then there's the Marvel titles, and then we see the TVA upside down and twisted around, and we zoom into the lift doors of the timekeeper's floor, and then that Twister turns around into the ruined city that Loki's in, and he's at a bus stop, and Loki asks where he is, and classic Loki says, "This is the void, that's Alioth, and we're his lunch." And there's a big roary smoky cat monster type thing, and then the titles, and then Sylvia is with Renslayer, and she's demanding the TAMPAD, and she's asking who's real behind the TVA, and Renslayer is still saying she doesn't know, and Sylvie's saying your reality's been destroyed, how does it feel to be on the other side of it, and this is where you dragged me when you took my life, and Renslayer says Loki's still alive. And when we prune a branch reality, it's impossible to destroy all of its matter, so we move it to a place on the timeline where it won't continue growing. Basically, the branch timeline isn't reset, it's transferred. And Sophie says, to where? To a void at the end of time, where every instance of existence collide at the same point and simply stops. And Sophie says, why? And Renslayer says, I don't know. The dogma states that the end of time is still being written, that the timekeepers are transforming it into utopia. And Sylvie says, that's nice, super believable. And Renslayer says, whatever the reason, nothing ever comes back from there. I can help you if you trust me. And Sylvie reluctantly hands back the TAMPAD. So we're in this void place, and there's a shipwreck and a flying saucer, and a portal opens in the sky, and someone falls through. And then we see Loki, and the Lokis are hurrying across the landscape, and Loki's like, I just quick breather so I can ask several thousand questions. And classic Loki says, gotta keep moving so we don't die. And then our Loki asks, what's the plan? But they don't have one. And says, if you're Loki, you should always have a plan. And then there's these blue, what from a distance look like blue peacock birds, and it turns out they're birds, and they've got a floating ball for a head. And there's alligator Loki, and Loki's like, all I know is I got pruned and I woke up here, and now I'm surrounded by variants of myself plus an alligator, which I'm heartbroken to report I didn't even find all that strange. And now we're running from God knows what to God knows where, when I need to be trying to find a way back to the TVA. And Kid Loki thrusts his sword at him and says, stop wailing, or you'll signal Alioth. Then Kid Loki pulls him back up and says, this is where the TVA dumps all its rubbish and everything they prune. And Alioth, he ensures none of it ever returns. Then boastful Loki, it's a living tempest that consumes matter and energy. They send entire branched realities here that are devoured instantly. And classic Loki says, we're in a shark tank. Alioth a shark. And the alligator growls. Oh, there's no such thing as an alligator tank, dear. Besides, it's a better metaphor. He's overly sensitive like the rest of us. And Loki's like, hang on, that thing's a Loki too. And classic Loki says, oh yes. And then Loki's like, okay, fine, willing to accept that. Why are there so many of you? Because Loki's survived, that's just what we do. And Loki's like, great, so how do we escape? And classic Loki says, we don't. All of us were arrested by the TVA and pruned just like you. And just like you, we all stood around making bad plans that went nowhere. And Loki's like, but we could use the TAMPAD. And they all laugh at him, so they carry on walking, and Loki chases after him, and Loki asks Kid Loki what his Nexus event was, and Kid Loki says he killed Thor, and that it's Kid Loki's kingdom, and there's loads of hills, and then there's a rocket and a helicopter that says Thanos on it, and they go down into their hideout in a hill, and we travel down through a cross section, and we see Thor's hammer, Mjolnir, and And then we see a frog Thor, frog Thor, whatever, in a jar, and it's got a TVA sticker on the jar. It says T365, which apparently was his the comic he debuted in. So they ask Loki why he wants to go back to the TVA, and boastful Loki says, "You leave your glorious purpose there," and Loki's like, "Something like that." And then there's a throne and there's big candy canes on it, and then the TVA Renslayer's asking Miss Minutes to remove some of the files from the archives, and Miss Minutes is flicking through them. And so is all. So if all this is still being written, whatever happens is just a new timeline. It would be impossible to start a Nexus event there. You could be completely undetectable. And Renslayer says that's the only place it could be. And Sylvie's like, so how do we get past the void? And Sylvie wants to go through the void, and Miss Minutes says, what about the void spacecraft? And Renslayer says, it's a spaceship designed to withstand the temporal void. And I thought, oh, here we go, they've got a TARDIS. And then Sylvia's like, we can find Loki. And Renslayer's like, find the man behind the curtain. And Sylvia's like, and kill him. And Renslayer's together, and they shake hands. Then Renslayer's actually been lying. I mismeant to been lying. They haven't really got a spaceship. They just I forgot what the expression is, spoiling for time, so they could get the guards to come in to capture Sylvie again. But Sylvie hides, but then Renslayer offers to put Sylvie in a time loop with a good memory. And do you have any good memories? And Sylvie says, just one really. But then she prunes herself so she can go to the void. So then Alligator Loki is drinking some wine, and all the Lokis are exchanging stories. And Boastful Loki claims he's got all the Infinity Stones. And Alligator Loki ate the wrong neighbour's cat. And then tries to fight Boastful Loki. And they're in their old bowling alley. And Classic Loki says, well, everything proceeded correctly until Thanos attacked our ship. I didn't try to stop Thanos because blades are worthless in the face of Loki's sorcery. They stunt our magical potential. I cast a projection of myself so real, even the Mad Titan believed it. Then I hid as inanimate debris, stayed on a remote planet in solitude for a long, long time. But he decided he missed Thor, so he tried to get back off the planet, and then the TVA caught him. And then he says, we, my friend, have but one part to play, the god of outcasts, which I thought was really nice and really comforting, and I like that a lot. And Loki says, I'm going back to the TVA. And Loki's like, have any of you met a woman variant of this? And Classic Loki's like, sounds terrifying. And I thought that was a bit like a joke at sexist fanboys. It's like, you know, you can't have a woman version of anything. It's like, oh. So I thought that was a joke against sexist fanboys. And then Loki says, oh, she is, but that's kind of what's great about her. She's different. She's not trying to take over the TVA. She's trying to take it down, and she needs me. And Loki plans to kill Ali off, so they all laugh at him. And Loki opens the hatch to go and do his plan. But then when he opens the hatch, he finds a ton more Lokis, including one with handlebars on his helmet, from an actual chopper bicycle, which I thought was really interesting. And then we see President Loki say, which one of us are you? And then we see Sylvie wake up, and she's in a school bus and it's been overtaken by plants. She runs about and she casts some magic and she sees something. Then Mobius is there, yay, and she's picked up by Mobius in a pizza delivery car. So Boastful Loki apparently tried to do a deal with President Loki, so Boastful Loki could be king, but they betrayed each other, and President Loki's followers betray him, and Alligator Loki bites his hands off, and Tom Hiddleston does an amazing scream, and it's really funny. And Big Loki, and they all fight, and they all start fighting. So Classic Loki, Child Loki, Alligator Loki, and our Loki escape through, and then with Mobius in the car, Mobius Sylvie is angry at Mobius, and Mobius is I guess when you think the ends justify the means, there's not much you won't do. And Sylvie's you hunted me like a dog, and Mobius says, I'm sorry about that. And Sylvie, well, to prove myself, I thought I might be able to find Loki. And Sylvia and Mobius turn around in the car, and they go driving back towards the angry cloud. So Loki and the gang are stood on the hill, and then the ship from the Philadelphia experiment comes through the portal, and Loki's okay, well, it's doing while it's distracted eating that ship, we can just sneak round the back. But then the ship just gets eaten, and she doesn't have time. And then Loki's the car starts driving up, and Classic Loki's oh, pirates, the pirates. And then Loki it's Sylvie and Mobius, and introduces him to his friends. Then Mobius throw a rock out here, yeah, Loki. And Sylvia's I think the person we're after is beyond the void at the end of time. So her plan is to enchant Alioth, who is the guard dog. And so the TVA in Renslayer has got Hunter B-15 locked up for being disloyal to the TVA. And Renslayer's all, the TVA needs stability. You need to tell me everything. What drives the variant? And B-15 has revenge drives it, killing the timekeepers. Super searching for whoever created them. You just want to find out whoever's behind all this too. You'll never find him, not before she does. And Renslayer's and why is that? And B-15 says, you only want it, she needs it. And then Renslayer asks Miss Minutes for all the restricted files. So Classic Loki is talking about Alligator Loki and said, you really don't remember him? And Mobius is all well, TVA has a lot of Lokis, but no, I don't remember an alligator. I mean, who's to say he's even a Loki variant? And Classic Loki's he's green, isn't he? And Mobius is I don't know, he could be lying. Well, long con. Cause that just makes him more likely to be a Loki. So is the game within the game with you guys, which I respect. Then Kid Lake says, Mobius, assuming you do get back to the TVA, what exactly are you getting yourself into? And Mobius says, I don't know. I'd like to let people know the truth. And Classic Lake says, so just like that, you're turning on the very thing you devoted your life to. And Mobius says, well, it's never too late to change. And then outside, Sylvie and with Loki, and so he says, maybe it isn't so bad. And Loki says, oh, so good. I think that's why we get along. And then does his cute smile. And then Sylvie says, cares about you. Then Loki considers himself what he thinks of as a blanket. And Sylvie's so Mobius and his theory about, and they right, about our next event. Total rubbish, right? Absolutely, of course. I mean, I don't mean that it wasn't a nice meal. No, it's great, really nice. It just sounds like another TVA lie. 100% mean, totally. Yeah. I don't know how to do this. I don't even know what we're doing. I don't have friends. I don't have anyone's oh. Well, there are more important things, right? Right. Yeah, like bring down the TVA, saving the universe even. Well, there's no need to be dramatic, but yeah, kind of. And then Loki conjures the cloak over Sylvie too, and just it's not very snuggly, is it? Tablecloth. No, it's a blanket. And she's like, thank you. Loki's all, my pleasure. And then Sylvie says, how do I know that in the final moments you won't betray me? And Loki's, listen, Sylvie, I betrayed everyone who ever loved me. I betrayed my father, my brother, my home. I know what I did, and I know why I did it. That's not who I am anymore, okay? I won't let you down. Sure, because if we make it and TVA is gone, there might be a timeline for you to rule. And Loki said, then I'll finally be happy. And Loki's like, what about you? What will you do when all this is all over? And so he says, I don't know. And Loki says, I don't know either. Maybe we can figure it out together. And Sylvie's, maybe. Then the weird ball-head beard is appearing, and there's thunderclouds. And then Loki stand on a hill with Mobius. And Mobius is all like, okay, so what's the next move? And so he's like, the TVA needs to be brought down. We don't know who created it or where they are, but that thing up there does. When it hit me earlier, I linked to it. It was brief, but I caught a glimpse of something. And I think if I can get close enough to it, I can enchant it. And it's going to take me to whoever's behind all this. And Sylvie hands Loki the tampad. And Loki's, I'm staying. Where you go, I go. So he hands Mobius the tampad. Then Kid Loki gives him a gold sword and says, you're gonna need this, Loki. And then it's like, Mobius goes to shake Loki's hand, and Loki's like, and there's an amazing hug, and it's the best thing ever, and it's so good, and I love it, and it's just the best thing ever, and I hope they meet up again in the last episode and kiss and then go off. I hope that they have a car and they say road trip, and then they get to the sea, jet ski, and they go off in a jet ski and have wonderful adventures together. That's what I hope happens with Mobius. So then Mobius goes through the portal to start the revolution, and then so Sylvie's plan is when a timeline branch appears, Alioth will focus on it, and that's when Sylvie will enchant it. So Loki storms forward as that to cause a distraction and waves all this sword about, and Sylvie starts trying and enchant the cloud. And then classic Loki is making an Asgard illusion, because meeting Mobius is giving classic Loki the inspiration to that he can do this, he can change, and he can find his glorious purpose, and he does this illusion of Asgard, and Loki's like, I think we're stronger than we realise, and then there's a very slow version of Ride of the Valkyries, which I thought was awesome. So Sylvie grabs his hand, that we're going to enchant it, and Loki's like, I don't know if I can. It's like, yeah, you can, we can do this, because we're the same. And Alioth tries to eat the Asgard illusion, and then they reach into the cloud to enchant it, and classic Loki's like, glorious purpose, and he gets eaten by Alioth, and we see his helmet rolling along the floor, but Loki and Sophia, they manage to enchant it, and through the clouds is this mansion castle thing, and they've got to go towards it. And then it's credits, and there's only one episode left, and I'm really disappointed there's only one episode left, and I really want some more. I really want a spin-off of Mobius and Loki just having adventures together. And I was really sad, but then the news about the What If coming out on 11th of August, that kind of made me feel a bit better, but I still want more Loki. I didn't used to be, I wasn't like a major fan of Loki, particularly when I got into the MCU. I got into the MCU in 2018, and I got into it through Thor Ragnarok, because I was very mentally ill in 2018, and I got into Thor Ragnarok, and then I got into doing lots of fan art of Bruce Banner and Thor on dates together. And but Loki was cool, but yeah, okay, there's that character. But now I've met Loki in this TV show, I'm total Loki stan, and I think he's my favourite. He's just my favourite character now. I think I might like him better than Thor even. So it's just, and I love him with Mobius, and I really hope they do a good ending, and I really hope that it's just really hope that it gets to be Mobius and they get to kiss and it's all happy and Mobius gets to be happy, and then they've got to let him ride the jet ski, because why would you keep going on about jet skis if there isn't a moment with a jet ski, because that'd just be silly. So I'm kind of excited to see it, but also I wish there was lots and lots more episodes. So here are my notes that I made, and I'll see you all on Twitter, and because I love chatting on Twitter about the episode and seeing everybody's fan art. So yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this review, and thank you for watching. Yay!